I was an absolute terror. I started doing drugs really young. I did pills going into geography classes and stuff. I was an animal. When I did get some freedom, that's when it all just went fucking pear-shaped. I would not go out and not get nutted. I would just get on the gear and that would be it. Some of the episodes I've had, I've not been able to talk. I couldn't look after my children. I couldn't wash. I didn't want to die. I just didn't want to feel the way I felt anymore. I've got myself in a lot of not very nice situations. Drugs everywhere. Everyone was going in every which way. There was no rules. I think we were the last generation that had a half-decent childhood. I wouldn't walk down the road on my own at night.
And you wouldn't walk around the streets in public with spunk all over your face? I want to say a quick thank you to our sponsors, Gold Seal. I use their products every single day, and now I finally get to work with them. I use their products for anti-inflammatory, reduced anxiety, better sleep, and mental clarity. I'm going to put a link to their website in the description, along with a 10% discount code for you to take advantage of. Go and have a look at their website, see if there's anything in there for you. I hope you enjoy this week's episode, and good health. Jade.
Hello.
Thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me. I'm honoured.
Well, you put a lot of smiles on a lot of people's faces. And in a day where we're lacking a sense of humour, most people, they're void of one. I think people like you are desperately needed in the space, in the world, in the country, for obvious reasons, which we may or may not cover. But I normally find that somebody with a good sense of humour has to have been through an interesting life. So we'll find out about yours. What got my attention was that you were brought up by your nan. I'm a nanny's boy, so I thought, there's common ground. Tell me about your nan.
My nan, she was a force of nature, really. She was very strict, very strict. And she did everything for me, which I think hasn't helped me as I've got older, because I just expect everyone to do everything for me, because she babied me for my whole life. But I started living with my nan, I think, when we moved back from Italy, because my dad is Italian. My mum met him in Italy. We were there for a bit, but we had to escape out of the country because he wasn't very nice.
The country or your dad?
Had to escape out of Italy because he wasn't very nice to my mum.
Okay.
Yeah, I've got some vivid visions of my father, who I'm not a massive fan of.
That's more common ground we have.
And then so my nan actually paid for my mum's ticket, my ticket, because we didn't have any money. She didn't have any money because obviously my dad did everything. So we got back anyway, and from then I lived with my nan until I was 13.
Where was your mum at this point?
Going to amazing places, partying, all that kind of stuff. She was single. They did get back together for a stint, my mum and dad, but the flat that we lived in got burnt down, and he was having an affair with the woman downstairs. And then she
weren't the one that set it on fire, was she?
Well, no, I don't know whether it was set on fire because of her. She was a nutcase. She's in prison now because she got some. This sounds absolutely ridiculous. She got a fella killed by two, and she was in on the whole thing. And she was, I don't know whether she still is now, but she went to prison. So I think she probably had something to do with the flat, because possibly if my dad was sleeping with her, then, yeah, it was really bad.
So your dad could have been a contender to be killed?
Probably would have done the world a favour, but, yeah. So my mum she wasn't young per se. She was what, 23, 24? So she had me, and my nan was a really, really strong character. And what she said goes. She was overpowering, so you just go along with what she wanted. So I think my mum kind of got pushed out, and then all of a sudden my mum left my nan's, because she did live there with me, with my nan. But then,
that's what I was curious about, if they was co-parenting, so you was getting like the masculine energy from your nan and the feminine energy from your mum.
No, my nan was the boss. What my nan said goes. My mum was obviously going out because she was still young, not really young, but she was going out. She was dating guys. And so then my nan took control and my mum moved out and my nan kept me.
How does it... And this is why, I mean, the only reason why this sparks an interest, because a lot of people now are out there rumping and dumping, having kids left, right and centre, splitting up, and one way or another, the child is going to feel abandoned by one of their parents, and it has everlasting damage. And you don't... I mean, how can you realise at the time that you're being abandoned? It's only sort of down the line you think, hang about, something's not right here. And then when you stem it back, it's like, shit, I was left when I needed someone.
Yeah, but it's bizarre how things affect people differently. Like, you can have a kid whose parents have divorced, but they thrive, they're fine. And then exactly the same situation and that kid falls apart and just goes down the wrong road and has loads of issues. So it depends on the person, doesn't it? I think that really did mess me up and didn't probably set me on the right path. And I had a real issue with that with my mum for so long. And I think she tried so hard to make it up, but I just couldn't. I couldn't get past what had happened. Like, I just felt like she'd left me and that was it. But knowing what I know now, because it kind of happened with my kids, my nan would have almost not allowed my mum to be the parent. And it was always coming from a place of love with my nan, and my mum, both of them. But even if it comes from a place of love, doesn't mean to say it's the right thing. They're obviously doing what they can with the tools they've been given, the same as we all are.
But do you know what? All I can think of that is that she must have really, really fucking loved you to override her own daughter to keep you safe. She must have really loved you.
She did, but my nan lost a child at 13, so I think that changed her a lot. She was always a strong woman, a powerhouse of a woman. You just wouldn't fuck with my nan. Like, black hair, long black wavy hair. Yeah, you wouldn't. I remember I got beaten up once when I was younger on an army base, and my nan literally went round there and fucking sorted the parents out. My nan, nutcase.
Yeah.
But lovely. She would do anything for anyone, but she was the salt of the earth type, you know. But you don't mess with her. But she lost her son, my uncle, when he was 13. He got run over. He was on his bike, got run over and died. And I think that made my nan so much more overprotective to the point I was at a park with some friends and she literally came down there and dragged me out of the park in front of all my friends. And that stuck with me massively. I wasn't allowed to walk home. Again, in hindsight, not that the park experience, but it's coming from a place of love. So when I did get some freedom, that's when it all just went fucking pear-shaped.
Bring back the old school strong women, I say, but just don't be too overbearing.
Do you know what, though? In this day and age, those are the women we need now.
So boarding school, you got shipped to boarding school. That's the right word to use at 13. Yeah. And was it all girls?
No, it's mixed.
Okay, so talk to me about boarding school, because I've heard some horror stories about boarding school. Normally all boys boarding school where it gets a bit...
No, this was mixed, which was quite bizarre. And it was only 10 minutes down the road from my mum's house and I boarded there.
Is that due to being a delinquent?
What, me being a...
Yeah.
No. I don't know what it was. I think it was she just wanted me to go to a nice school, you know. She said, right, you're going to see a school. I was like, oh, my mum wants me to come and live with her. Like, I was buzzing. Because also my mum let me do a little bit more than my nan did. So that's how you think as a kid, isn't it? On the Sunday I'd moved in. It was boarding school. I moved in on Sunday. I didn't know it was a boarding school until I went there and my mum told me.
What's that like for a 13-year-old girl? Daunting?
Daunting, yeah, but I think I was excited.
Oh, good.
I was excited because I had balls of steel back then. Like, I was so like, yeah, whatever, but I don't think I really knew who I was anyway. And that is where I got into most trouble. That's when I started drugs, like...
At boarding school?
Boys. Yeah. Actually, like, I was just, got suspended, run away from there. I ran away, right, and I went so no one could get hold of me. The police went to my mum. They searched my mum's house because they thought I'd been killed and put in the loft. And they went to the school. Anyway, I obviously turned up. I obviously phoned and turned up, and the police come and interviewed me to make sure nothing bad had happened. But I was a fucking terror. I was an absolute terror. I started doing drugs really young. I was an animal.
Was that kind of thing rife in boarding school?
Yeah. I did pills going into geography classes and stuff.
I'd have been shocked if you didn't.
Really? Kids, just so you know, you don't do that, okay?
No.
We were unhinged back then.
Yeah, that is nuts behaviour. And things have changed since then, but you think boarding school, you're safe, you're sound, but really you're in there. What other madness goes on in boarding school?
It was quite a toxic environment, actually, I have to say, especially because it was mixed. I think if you're going to have a situation like that, you need to be separated because everyone's doing everything. Drugs, fights, sex, like it was just a one massive party constantly.
Anybody from the outside ever get involved, like the police, if there's all that going on? Or is it sort of kept secret?
It's kept in-house, really. I think back then it was very different now. You haven't got all the safeguarding stuff that you have now. Like, it's very strict. Like, I've had problems with my kids at school and it's totally different to the way it was dealt with before. But I used to be shit scared of the headmistress. She was a fucking... She ruled us with an iron fist. Is that the word?
Yeah.
Yeah. She was a fucking hard ass and I would shit myself every time I got into trouble, but I was in trouble a lot, all of the fucking time. But I weren't that nice, to be honest, but I weren't that nice a person, but I think hurt people. I think that's what happens. And I was a nightmare.
And when you're that age, you don't really know
why.
And also the ramifications of your behaviour or the knock-on effect it has. You're kind of making your way through the world and you can only act on what's sort of firing up inside you. And if you're fueled with anger, then that's how you're going to behave.
Yeah, and you're not going to know any of that until you get older and start thinking, or hopefully you'd think, something's not right. Why am I behaving like that? And then you go and get it sorted. Not everyone gets like that, but thankfully I did. But it took some very, very horrible times for me to get to that stage where I knew I needed help. And
did you see it out? Or did you end up getting expelled or anything like that?
I stayed there. I didn't do very well, exam-wise.
You was there for the fun of the aggro, though?
Probably, yeah.
Mission accomplished.
Like the drama.
So did you take drama at school?
I did take drama at school. Hated it.
Did you?
Hated it.
That's surprising because...
Yeah, I didn't do very well in it either.
That's surprising because I will get to your acting because I think you're very, very good. And I watched you in Bone Breaker.
Yeah.
And... Well, it was almost like you was plonked in there on purpose to make all the other actors look bad.
I think that was a compliment.
It was a compliment. And also, so when I'm doing my research, I'm looking at your like little pilots where your agent would send them off and say, you know, this is Jade's work. What do you think?
Yeah.
And all of that is very, very convincing. So I'm surprised you're not. Well, you have done. You've done The Bill. You've done EastEnders. You've done other bits and pieces. You've done films. And so getting into and I noticed that you tap into anger easy.
Yeah.
Anger and comedy. But anger, I mean, very convincing. There's a scene where you're shouting at some bloke, effing and jeffing, and it's like, fucking hell, when you're watching someone that's good, you don't think it's an act.
Yeah. But funnily enough, after therapy, I found it very hard to get those characters back.
Because you found yourself?
I guess so, yeah. And I was like, oh, I'm obviously not that fucking highly strung, irrational. Well, I am irrational. Highly strung, surrounded by drama, full of anger and hate anymore. So then, and that was another reason I think that I started fizzling out of the whole acting thing.
So when I first invited you on, because we haven't really spoke a great deal because this is where the magic happens in here.
Yeah.
But you said to me, I have got a past.
Yeah.
What did you mean by that?
I've just got myself into a lot of
trouble.
I've never been in trouble with the police. That's not what I'm saying. Just I've got myself in a lot of not very nice situations, all down to drink and drugs, really.
So you hit it hard?
I hit it hard. Every weekend, without a doubt, I'd go out on a Friday, not come home until the Monday. Probably hadn't slept either. Rollover after rollover after rollover. Put myself in very bad positions with not very nice people.
Villains?
Yeah.
So you're around gangsters, you're spangled a lot of the time on drink and drugs, sort of not really knowing who you are, where you're going. And at what stage did you get into acting? And was getting into acting a way of clocking out from that life and getting into another one?
I don't know. I think I've always been one of life's lost souls, maybe. I don't know. Even now, like, I'm just going with the motions. I'm just going along, hoping that at some point I'll get that to that point in my life where I go, yeah, all right, I know where I'm at. I know what I'm doing. I know who I am. Like I have more of a sense of that now than I ever have. But where I was partying so much, putting myself in bad situations. I mean, I was off my face so like I'd wake up in my car. And one of the times was in the middle of Berkeley Square. I've just woke up in Berkeley Square with my doors open. It's daylight, and I've obviously so nutted, just slumped in my car. Like, what the fuck? No friends with me or nothing.
I was going to say, was there anybody that was trying to save it, or was anybody enabling you?
Well, I think we were all just out partying. I used to promote a lot of clubs in London as well, so I was in that environment all of the time.
You was on the scene.
I was in all of the clubs in London, like
strip clubs,
all underground clubs, like secret clubs, like all of it wrapped around all kinds of like celebrities or gangsters, or it was all that kind of thing. And I would not go out and not get nutted. It would not happen. I would just get on the gear and that would be it. And I'd just go for days. and that, yeah. And the way of me doing that, like when I started promoting a lot of the clubs, it was a way of me doing it. I didn't have to fucking pay to go in these clubs because I worked for them. Do you know what I mean?
So these strip clubs and secret clubs, what secrets are there to be told? Who are we going to grass up? Who are we going to grass up, Jade?
Liam. No, so when I say secret clubs, like these underground clubs where you can't get in, you have to know about it, and there's like major security on the door, but they're inside of the door. They don't stand outside, and you have to do like a certain knock, weirdly, like sounds like something out of a film.
Put your phone in a Tupperware box.
All of it gone. There was this, it was right round the corner from China White's, and it was this guy's apartment, and he turned it into a club kind of thing, and it was underground. And even though I'd been there a couple of times, I couldn't just rock up there and go in. It wasn't like that. And everyone was just absolutely like, there was drugs everywhere. It was just, everyone was going in every which way. And that's how it was. It was a club, but a club where anything can happen and no one knew about it. The police, nothing. But obviously if they did, it got raided, you'd be fucked. And those, when I say secret clubs, those were the kind of clubs that I'd go to that were secret, that anything could go. Like you'd just rack up a line or fucking do whatever you wanted in there. There was no rules.
I quite like the sound of that. The no rules thing.
Yeah, well, I mean, I like the sound of it back then, but yeah, no, that just fills me with anxiety now. I'm like, ugh.
No, I have to admit, the thought of all them shenanigans gives me the horrors just thinking about it. So what was first, the partying scene or the acting?
The acting kind of came in the middle of it all, but by accident. My friend was going to do a summer school at a drama school, was going to do a summer course at a drama school. Why don't you come? I was like, oh, no, I don't know about that. But I'd always wanted to do acting. I'd done a little bit of extra work. And I was like, oh, fucking, all right, I'll do it. I hate being put in situations where I have to perform in front of someone. That's why I obviously do what I do at home, my content or whatever. And anyway, the day before, she's like, I can't do it. I'm not going to do it. And I was like, oh, no, me neither. And I thought, no, fucking don't be a dickhead. Just go. So I went for I went there, did the summer course. And at the end of it, they were like, we want you to stay. We want you to do the full course. I was like, oh my God, I found my niche, what I need to do with my life. That's it. Everything's settled. I was still getting absolutely fucking nutted. But for the first time in my life, I kind of felt like I was doing something right. Like I might be in the right place. Like this is finally it. Maybe this is my calling. And yeah, that's how it happened. And I was always getting told, that was amazing. Oh, you did really well. I really see your character there. Oh, you were really believable. And I never had that. I never had someone tell me that I'm amazing or that I was good at something. And that's obviously comes from when you're a kid. Do you know what I mean? And I think that's probably why I got into it, because I needed that adoration maybe from the outside.
Validation, adulation. Well, it's nice.
It is nice, but, you know, we all know to be truly happy, it needs to come from in there, doesn't it? Not out there, because that ain't going to...
Yeah.
It ain't going to do the trick whatsoever.
I asked somebody sat opposite me, you know, what if you could choose one thing that you had in life, what would it be? And then they asked me, and I said, for me, it would be peace. And then they said, what do you mean? And they said, peace of mind. And I said, no, peace in my mind. That's
really ultimately, apart from a few, what we all strive for. It's not the fucking cars, the bags, the holidays. I'd take everything away if I could just be happy and content.
Switch off the noise.
Switch off the noise. And do you know what? It's the one thing that's free, but the one thing that's probably hardest to get.
We're still trying to get there.
We're all still trying to get there, aren't we? I don't know what it's like to truly be content. I've had my moments, don't get me wrong, you know, but I think contentment comes, you know, like, do you ever like sit there and you're watching TV or you're just doing something normal and you just feel like, oh my God, I feel so good. You're not buying anything going in, you're just doing nothing and you get this feeling come over you, and I think that's what contentment is. You get that. This is it.
It's like temporary forgetfulness. You've just forgot that you're in your own head for a minute, and then your thoughts come back, and they're not even necessarily bad thoughts. They're just thoughts. I lay in bed and it's like shit. They're all coming from every angle. It's like I can't even back you off.
Well, no, yeah,
and it's not even worry.
No,
just
it's not.
Thoughts.
It's literally like, oh fuck me, I've got to go and get the stuff out of the washing machine. It is shit stuff. It does, like you said, it doesn't need to be bad, but then everything goes out the window and you're like, oh, again. But yeah, so I felt what contentment is like. I've had flickers of it.
Because you're very honest about your mental health. So, and also, I don't really hear a lot of women talking about their mental health. You hear a lot about men and men's suicide and stuff like that. And obviously Tyson Fury put men's mental health on the map. And since he spoke out about it, a lot of other men have. But I've sort of lost sight of, okay, what about the women that are struggling out there? Who's voicing that for the women that are struggling? Because we all bear different responsibilities and troubles.
People talk about all this stuff either on social media, TV, newspapers, stuff like that. But because of the society that we live in, I think influencers especially want you to think that everything's perfect. So you've got one side where, you know, everyone's talking about mental health and it's more acceptable now and people understand it a bit more, but yet you've got more people trying to make out that everything is perfect. So then I think it's counterproductive. You've got one or the other. You know, that ain't life. You are not waking up in fucking Saint-Tropez with a bikini and a Ferrari. Do you know what I mean? And everything perfect. When really your fella's probably fucking in prison. You're on the dole. Do you know what I mean? I don't know whether I said it to you the other day. It's not your responsibility to validate other people. But when you're in this industry, I think it's our responsibility as a human to just be a little bit honest. And be truthful. And you know, I've had the facelift. I'm quite open about anything that I have done. But I don't expect everyone to go, yeah, I've had a facelift, you know. Because if you don't want to, you don't want to. But don't come on and say, I said to you, you were born this fucking way when you weren't. Do you know what I mean? You did not look like that last week. So just don't say anything, you know. Oh, your nose looks different, but it looks like, oh, yeah, it's just the way I do my makeup. But my nose is just, no, it ain't. You were in fucking Turkey the other week having a nose job, love, please.
Nothing to do with the plastic surgery.
No, and all the gear you shoved up your nose. And that's why I like to be honest on there, because I think that the world is saturated with, can I say that?
You can say what you like. The world is saturated with bad, poor actors, giving people false hope. Half the reason I do this podcast is because I'm nowhere near established or I've got it all sussed out. So by doing this, I just keep learning. Every single interview is like, oh, I've learned something from you. I've learned something from you. I'm bored of being in my own brain. Let me get into yours. Yeah. I'm learning. Thank you. You're feeding me. And I like to let people know it's like, I haven't got it all sussed out. That's why I'm here. That's why I ask questions now rather than talk.
I think you can learn so much from other people. But I'm just not a people person, so I learn fuck all. I'm like, oh no, I'll just stay in my house. I won't go out. I'll make a video and that's it. Fuck it. I'll talk to people online. But I went off on a tangent, didn't I? We were talking about mental health. I still think there is a slight stigma around it. I still think people don't understand it. And I don't think, unless we can all say, oh, you know, she's really depressed, that's awful, and kind of empathise with people. But unless you've been in it, you have no fucking idea how bad it really is. And it is horrific. It's horrific. I would not wish that on my worst enemy.
What is that? The bouts of depression?
The bouts of depression. Like horrific, it makes me feel sick thinking about how bad it is.
Yeah, we won't dwell on that too much.
No.
But how just so people don't feel they're alone, because there'll be a lot of people that find strength in you. They tune into you every single day for their strength and their comfort, and this just lets them know that you're not on your own. Even the strongest people suffer sometimes, and predominantly in silence.
Without sounding like a total dickhead, by me doing what I do, it helps me.
Mm-hmm.
That's the selfish part for me, is by me making someone else smile, it makes me smile. And as cheesy as that sounds, it helps me so much. Laughter can help fucking anyone.
Ah, it's the one.
And also the fact that there's people that actually get me, that like me and are really happy with me being me, which is what I couldn't do in the acting. I couldn't be me. That another reason why I came out of it. And I just want people to know that, listen, just because of what you see on there is not necessarily what's going on in the background. We've all got fucking shit going on. And I don't wake up every day fucking seeing robin redbreasts flying around and rainbows. I don't. Every day for me, at some point, is a battle, whether it be seconds, minutes, days. Every day. And that's what it's like suffering with mental health problems. It's a battle.
You do wake up, though, to your husband's lovely legs every day, though. He's got good legs.
Yeah, you got good legs, you fucking twat.
There you go. You got good legs.
He's...
And he's a rock to you, isn't he?
If it wasn't for him, I don't know where I'd be, to be honest.
Just one more thing on the mental health front, because I used to get real bad anxiety when I was younger, and that was drug-induced. My dad used to give me drugs when I was a kid, like mind-altering LSD. Then he'd switch on me, so my brain took a panel beating. And so when I hear people talking about being anxious, and I'm interested in that, because also anxiety sort of fuels anxiety. You start talking about anxiety, it's like, shit, that's actually making me like
anxious.
I now feel anxious. You get anxious about being anxious, and yeah, it's a much bigger thing than people think. It's not just sort of worrying about a job interview that's coming up. It's like it's an actual thing that sort of puts your brain into a state of psychosis, and it's extremely fucking scary. I would say it's the most fear I've ever felt in my life. So if someone's telling you that they're feeling fragile and scared in their own mind and that they're suffering with anxiety, you've got to be a little bit compassionate. Even if you don't understand it, kind of, this is a bit of a message to people watching, sort of take it from someone that's been there, that's like, and I consider myself a strong man, an accountable man, but I can confirm that, you know, if you're having an anxiety attack, it's the most frightening feeling I've ever come across, and I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy.
When I had panic attacks, I actually thought I was dying. Like, both the times that I had panic attacks, an ambulance was called because I thought I was dying. It's the most horrific thing ever. I'll be walking through Tesco's and I'll suddenly get fucking anxious in the fucking ice lolly aisle.
From nowhere.
From nowhere. And it's like, what the fuck? A lot of these things live in you and can be triggered by anything at any point. You don't necessarily have to be in a bad situation for your mental health to fucking decline. You will never just get rid of anxiety. It's not something that you can just get rid of by taking a tablet. I do think medication can take you out of a hole and help you be able to function on a basic human level, but it does not fix the situation. I think it's needed sometimes, but it won't fix you. You can only fix you, and someone else can help you fix you. but it's something that will never, ever, ever go away. And you can, like you said, you keep batting it off, but at some point it's going to come and fucking take hold and you ain't getting out of it. If you don't fucking deal with it, it will take you down. And some of the episodes I've had, I've not been able to talk. I couldn't look after my children. My nan lived with us to help me. I couldn't wash. I'd just sit there not saying anything. And it went on for ages. And that is when obviously I got into therapy. That's how bad I was. And I didn't want to be here anymore.
Did you ever attempt to end it all?
Once, yeah, but that was before kids. I had issues from day dot, but they didn't. I just battled through them. Like, you know, when you're partying, you're just like, oh, fuck it, it's nothing. But then when you have children, you've got to start thinking about someone else. And that's when my major episodes started, when I got pregnant with my son. Massive episodes. And once he come along and everything, I couldn't, when I had the episode, I couldn't be left on my own because I couldn't look after the kids and I wanted to kill myself. But it's not because I didn't want to die. I just didn't want to feel the way I felt anymore. That's what it is.
So is that a mixture of sort of all the Persian rugs creeping up with the hormones due to pregnancy? That's a cocktail.
Well, I was like, I don't want my kids to turn out like me. I want my kids to have an amazing relationship with me. I don't want them to have any issues. I just want everything to be just perfect. But I wasn't perfect and I wasn't fixed and I was fucking damaged. So I probably shouldn't have even had... I'm fucking so glad I did now. And they've actually taught me so much. But I was a messed up person and I should have waited. But I met the right guy, David, and it all worked out. And
he's got good legs.
That he's got good legs. I'm going to put him in my phone, actually.
Good legs.
Yeah. Him and his blood. I'm going to get my legs out. Can you say something about my legs in a minute? Or my face that I fucking just had done, for fuck's sake.
Well, I was going to come on to your facelift.
All right, we will do that.
Because it's predominantly a male audience I've got, but for the females that do tune in, they'll probably be intrigued about the facelift, but let me come back to the facelift because we're on the therapy thing now.
Yes, sorry.
Because what I like to give value to anybody watching. It's a way of thanking them for supporting the channel.
Yeah, of course.
And where you're in a position of influence now, again, you're giving them strength. So there's like an exchange of value going on here.
Yeah.
And there'll be a lot of people that are suffering in silence and that, you know, you're now putting out content. You're still work in progress like we all are, but you're far much better than you ever were. So this is the little journey that I want to discuss with you so people can think, okay, maybe I'll make that step. Now, I know that you tried a few therapists and you didn't get on with them. You didn't particularly like them because they couldn't see you. And then you found a therapist that worked for you. What did that therapist see in you that made it work?
I was with her for 5 years, so it wasn't a short fix, and I saw her every week for 5 years. So it's a long journey. It's not I'm going to go in the Priory for a week and I'll be fixed. It doesn't work like that. And I felt like for the first time in my life, somebody understood and could untangle all of the shit that was building up in my head. I felt like if I was in a hoarder's cupboard, that's what I felt my head was like. A hoarder's cupboard, you open it and every fucking thing flies out, but you don't know what it is or what bit to go. And she unjumbled the spaghetti junction that my head was. And I felt like I was losing my fucking mind because I couldn't think straight. I had no my train of thought was all over the shop. Didn't know what I was doing. I saw her after I'd had Bo, because it really fucked up then because Bo was very ill. We nearly lost him when he was a baby. And I blamed myself. So that was the pinnacle point.
Of where you thought, I now need some help, support.
Yeah, because the thought that I was to blame fucked me, and I thought I've done something so bad in my past that this is karma.
Ah, okay. What were the biggest knots your psychotherapist untangled?
There's some situations that I'd been in. I had my drinks spiked a couple of times. First time, it didn't get to that stage. It very nearly did, but it didn't. The second time it did. And I thought, oh, that's just what happens. I was fucking off my nut. Like, and she was like, you were right. And I was like, no. And that was one of the things but I didn't even know that was an issue because I didn't know that what happened to me wasn't right. I thought I'd put myself in that situation, so that's what's going to happen. So so off my nut.
And that's not out the ordinary where like the victim will blame themselves, or you've lived such a dysfunctional life that when something outrageous happens, you don't really absorb it as out of the norm. When to a normal person that's lived a functional life and you tell them that story, I've had the same thing, a couple of things my dad done to me. When I told a normal human being what my dad had done to me, they said, that's abuse. I'm like, really?
But you didn't think that it...
I was desensitised to it.
And that's what... And I think so many of us are. And I think it's probably... These kind of things probably do happen to people. Well, we know they happen to people all the time, but we play it down. And it, but it's a fucking massive deal. And so then that incident became an issue because she didn't make it an issue, but I ended up seeing it a totally different way. And she did this thing with me. I had to draw how I felt. And I was like, what the fuck is this shit? Like, I said, can I draw a stick man? Because I can't fucking draw. She's like, no, you can't. And I just drew. It was bizarre. I drew this fucking black blobby kind of thing. And she was like, that's you. And I was like, oh, it's just a fucking blob. She said, no, this is how you feel. And she named both sides of it. One was Little Tiger, which was the nutty version of me. And then there was the other Jade, which is obviously this me now, right? And she said, you've disassociated yourself from the Tiger Jade, the Little Tiger Jade, because that was the one that got you into trouble. And you've literally booted her out because you've had kids, because you think if she comes in, you're going to get yourself in a whole fucking world of shit. But you need to bring the two together because that one is the one that gave you the strength and the power. She says, so she's not all bad. It's fucking bizarre. And I was obviously confused with who I was because I was like, oh, drawn to that person, but knew if I went there, I was going to do bad things.
Clever woman. She tapped into your creative side.
Yes. And it was like me explaining it, people would think, the fuck? Like, it sounds like weird, like just all like airy fairy, but it made so much fucking sense.
I get it and all.
And she said, talk to that person. I was like, what the fuck? Talk to fucking who? She said, talk to Little Tiger. I'm actually calling her Little Tiger. She said, yes, call her Little Tiger. I was like, fucking all right then. It fucking worked. It worked.
Do you still use some of them techniques you learnt now if you're having a bad day?
Yes, I do. And she promised, she promised me, she said, you're never going to be where you have been. You're never going to be because I've given you the tools. And I haven't, touch and pray, I haven't ever gone back there, but I never say never. But it's terrifying, the thought of going back there. Yeah.
Well, that'll keep you on your toes and make sure you won't do things that could possibly jar your brain.
No, I retreat. When I go quiet, that is, that something's going down because I retreat, just get myself back together and then it will pass and I carry on. But it hasn't been as dark as those times that I had.
And how long have you been a much stronger version of Jade?
Probably about 5 years.
That's a good solid stint.
It's like that. But it's not gone back to that bad one where I can't function. I'm like, David, it's not going, he's like, just fucking sit at home, chill out, don't worry about it. But I'm like, I've got to worry. And the thing is, when you've got kids and you've got a life or a job or whatever, it's very hard to shut off because there's people that depend on you and rely on you. And then especially with the whole social media thing, you're thinking, fuck, I need to put out content because people are going to think, well, where's she gone? And like, I need to, make other people's day better. And but I need to look after my, and it's just, that all goes on in my head as well, which is not, it's minuscule, but
well, it's also,
I make it big.
Yes, I get that totally. And it's reassuring to know that no matter what state you're in, if we can use the word state, but there's tools for everyone to use. You just got to find them tools. You got to put a bit of trust in someone, ain't you?
You have, but like how every American is probably in therapy, aren't they? They've all got a therapist.
Yeah. There's no shame in it at all. I'm all for it.
No, there isn't.
This is therapy. It's no different.
Just even talking and someone listening. You don't need someone to keep saying, oh, yeah, I know this. You just want someone who's not going to have any judgment because they don't know you. So, if you say it to your mum, you say it to your partner, they know you. So you could get it mixed up in your head. That's what I liked about my therapist, because I knew what she was saying to me was an unbiased a bit of advice, opinion. Anytime I said it to someone I know, I couldn't trust it because they knew me. So I didn't know what they were saying, whether they had an ulterior motive, because I don't trust anyone. And I'm still like that. And I cut people off very, very quickly. You've got to do the slightest thing. That's why I know loads of people, but I don't have any friends. That sounds fucking ridiculous. If anybody would like to be my friend, please, we'll put my email at the bottom. Thank you. No, I don't need the bullshit. I've been surrounded by too much of it. Yeah, you do one wrong thing and then I'm gone, that's it.
Less friends, less headaches.
I hate gossips. I fucking hate gossips. And I know that if I hear someone gossiping, then I know they're going to do it about me, so I'm just not going to bother. So I've ended up being a fucking lonely old spinster.
But you're happier now than you were before, so maybe that's the answer for people.
It's nice to have good people, but I think good people are hard to find. And unless you tick every single fucking... Not because I'm amazing, and that's why, but I need to feel comfortable in your presence. I don't need to feel like I'm not enough around you because I've spent enough of my life feeling like that. And if you make me feel like that, I don't want to be around you. Because why the fuck should I? Life's too short. I want people around me that are going to make me feel good. Like, I want to make people feel good. That's it.
Well, that's what I said at the start of the interview. You always find that people pleasers or people that want to make other people smile is because there's sadness in them. And they don't want, and if they're a decent human being, they don't want other people to feel sad. And you don't know who's sad. So if you just cover all angles and try and make everyone happy at your audience, you know that a few of them need that shock of positivity and reassurance and a bit of love thrown their way, which comes in a format of laughter, which is what you do. And I want to tap into your comedy because it's a tough old road to take, comedy. You got
especially now.
Rejection's horrible, abandonment's horrible, not being validated. To get into comedy's got to be like the worst thing to do because that's pressure. You got to be funny.
I have never, even with the acting and that, like, people would always say to me, "Oh, you fucking funny cow," like because of the things that I'd say. But whatever, like what we were talking about earlier, you said you play angry or hurt or really well. And I said to you, after therapy, I found it really hard. Like, I lost my way because the person that was another thing. The therapy made me lose totally who I thought I was. So then that was a whole another load of problems because I was becoming someone else. The person that probably always was, but didn't know that. So I went, that's how I got into, I started doing funny things because I couldn't no longer find that hurt, damaged person anymore. She was still there, but it was harder to tap into.
Right, so the comedy come after the angry acting.
Yeah.
Which you've done really convincingly. And I'll tell you how convincing you are. So I watched a sketch and I don't even know now, so you're going to have to clarify this for me. I couldn't tell whether you were being serious or whether you were acting. And I thought, shit. So I wrote notes down because I always prepare for my guests. It's, it's an honour to have anybody on, so I need to do them the courtesy of knowing things about them.
Yeah.
So I thought, well, how do I approach this question? Because I don't know whether it's a sketch or whether it was real, but you were talking about being bipolar. And so when I done more research on your life, I thought, I don't know if this is a sketch or if it's genuine.
Yeah, I think I know. I think that was a job that I did. I think that might have been a job that I did. And I was talking about getting help because I was bipolar and I think I needed... I think the company that I was doing it for, they were the ones that were going to help me. So I played a character that was bipolar.
Well, I was absolutely convinced that was true. But then I saw the comedy and thought, oh, no, that could actually be a sketch. But then I saw you being honest about your mental health. So I thought, fuck, which one is it?
I say on my social media, I've got 10 personalities.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, convincing ones.
I am everything I do has always got part of me in it. Everything. But we are not one person. We fucking are there's so many layers and so many sides to us. And all my sides are in things that I do. So there'll always be part of me in something.
So where
does that make sense?
It does, which then makes me think, so where does the content about massage parlours and brothels come into play?
Oh, well, you know. Back in the day, that was the world that I was in. It was rife then. You know, you used to see loads of old men out with young dollies, and you're like, if I was in a strip club, you'd be like, brass, brass, brass. Do you know what I mean? It was obvious. And that was the world that I was in, basically.
Talking about mental health and prostitution and brothels and that kind of stuff. Interesting to take your thoughts on the OnlyFans era that's completely taken over. The likes of Bonnie Blue and Lily Phillips.
That interview.
Insane. But since I interviewed Bonnie Blue, her behaviour's just become more and more outrageous, which I think, but I'm interested in what you think. So Lily Phillips not too long ago, I think they're keeping up with each other, but she took 50 men in her backside to keep up with the Joneses. What message is that sending out to young girls now? I think it's putting them in grave danger. So do you think that this epidemic of OnlyFans and pushing the sexual boundaries, is there going to be a pandemic of mental health down the line when it all catches up on them?
I can't see how anybody that is totally compos mentis, that is happy, that is content, that is a normal human being would want to do something like that. I can't see how you can just be a normal person that would want to get done up the backside by 50 fellas. I don't get it. There's nothing wrong with girls. If they like sex, they like it. It's great. Do you know what I mean? It shouldn't be frowned upon because it ain't frowned upon with men. But I also think we are different to men, and it's nice for ladies to be ladies. I'm not really a fucking lady. You've heard the way I talk and the way I act, so, okay, fine, whatever. I will not take that label. But, and I get it, when people are young, sometimes they do that. They do experiment, but I think it's a dangerous game to play and not healthy.
And you wouldn't walk around the streets in public with spunk all over your face. Did you see that?
No, I fucking didn't.
Lily Phillips has come out of whatever room she was in, letting men go through her. She's then come out in the street and she's recorded herself with cum all over her face. And I'm thinking, someone has surely got to arrest her for that. They have to do something to stop that from creeping in to young people's minds. It's half the reason why Bonnie Blue platformed me. Yeah. She's probably the most famous person in the world at the moment. Yeah. And I've never seen anybody challenge her or just say, do you think this is the right way to go? What about the minds of these 18-year-olds you're sleeping with? They might regret it when they're 25 once their brain's fully formed. Are you thinking about the safety?
That's what I love about you. You don't blow smoke up their asses. You say what you think and if you don't agree with something, you'll say it.
Especially that. I was raised by my mum and my nan.
Yeah.
So I don't want women going down that route. It's fucking dangerous. More than anything.
Listen, everyone needs to earn a pound note. Do you know what I mean? And the industry, the porn industry, it's all been around for years. But sadly, things progress, don't they? And it just gets more and more extreme. It's not just, run-of-the-mill man and woman having sex on a video. It gets so much worse and the girls are getting younger. But it's getting... I don't know if fashionable is the right word, but it's like a thing and people aspire to do stuff like that. And I don't think you should be aspiring to get fucking railed by 1,000 men in 24 hours.
No. A hard and sharp message needs to be put out from normal, sensible people that this is not normal and it ain't the road you want to be going down. Because I think in 5, 10, 15 years' time, the people that are indulging in this fucking extreme... sexual, whatever the fuck it is there. I don't even know. I can't even think of a word to actually describe what they're doing.
There isn't a word.
But it's going to come back and bite them on the arse and they're going to need serious therapy. And I guarantee there's going to be a lot of people taking their lives because they've got to live with previous behaviour which isn't just done in private.
No, this isn't going away. This is going to be out there forever.
It's out there forever.
Yeah.
When they have children, like if their kid goes to school, it's like your mum was the one that was walking the streets of London with all over her face and then had 50 men up her bum the week before. That's all on camera. That's saved to millions of pervy men's phones. Wow.
But what about their parents? Like, obviously, that her mum and dad are proud of her.
Well, they both say the same thing, that both their parents are perfectly happy with it.
I would fucking annihilate my daughter. Like, I don't get their thinking. For me, that makes the parents fucking unhinged.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
It's disgusting.
When she was saying that
I think that's worse than her.
Yeah. It's a form of abuse if you're encouraging that behaviour.
I don't know how you can. I mean, how does Dad go down the pub with his mates?
With a fistful of dollars. That's how he goes down there.
Clearly.
Yeah, he's obviously getting hush money.
I mean, she's obviously a good businesswoman. She's earned a fucking fortune. So, she's probably going to secure her life because of what she's done. But I think that the way that it's done, I think that's going to cause so many problems later down the line, whether she realises it or not. I don't know how you can come out the other side normal.
Especially with all the crimes against women at the moment and the sexual assaults on the up.
And it's rife, yeah. It's rife. It's everywhere.
It's just sending out completely the wrong message to what people like I'm fighting for and fighting against, like the concerns I've got with the country. I mean, I haven't asked you as a woman, because I speak to a lot of men about the concerns of the country. There's, the bones of contention are pretty obvious what the number one is. Mass migration, illegal migration, putting up the hotels, having our women at risk, which include our daughters, mums and nans.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of at the end of my tether, but I'll keep pushing back against it, and I hope more people do. But as a woman as well, I mean, how does that make you feel within a country that you grew up in? Because we're the same age to the year, and I've seen the change. But as a woman, what change have you seen, and how does it make you feel?
Nervous, scared, but actual, like I wouldn't. It sounds absolutely ridiculous, but I wouldn't walk down the road on my own at night. I used to do it all the time when I was younger, when I was going out partying. Like, fuck the situation. How did I do it? But I don't... Listen, there's always been wrong-uns in the world, hasn't there? There's always been things going on. There's always been violence, sexual assaults against women forever. But I never thought about it back then. Do you know what I mean? Even putting myself in some of the positions I had, I never thought about it. But now I have a child, we always get more protective when we have our own kids. All I think about is the bad stuff that can happen, but I'm constantly thinking about it now because it is so rife. I wouldn't let my daughter go to the shop on her own. I wouldn't let my daughter go to the park on her own, but I used to play in the park on my own. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Well, my mum let me, not my nan, because my nan was so strict. But I think the world has changed, but the other worrying thing is that you've also got to be worried about kids hurting kids. It's not just these men that are hurting women and children. It's kids hurting kids. I think everything's fucked, really. I don't think anywhere is safe. That's why I live in the country.
The country is fucked. You know, I would love politicians just to watch this teeny little section of this interview. I asked you how the current state of the country is making you feel. You said nervous.
Yes. Yeah.
That is fucking disgusting. And for a 45-year-old woman that can hold her own, to say that she feels nervous in her own country now because of the way it's going, they need to take notice of that. They need to take notice of that. It infuriates me.
It is scary, and I do think, can we go there? Will we be safe there? It sounds pathetic, but it really is. It's exactly how I feel. There's places that I won't go on my own. I won't let my daughter, even my son. But obviously, I mean, I'm very protective over Bo anyway because of all his learning difficulties. I just think the world isn't a safe place, but whatever's going on over there is going over there. Where I live, where I was raised, where I was born, has got to be one of the most fucked up places to be at the minute.
That was West London, wasn't it?
Yeah. So my mum had a flat in Harrow and Wembley as well. House in Harrow, flat in Wembley was where we was with my dad. And my nan was East-Cote way.
Right.
Yeah. So I was from round that way, and that's shitholes now.
And there you go. I mean, that kind of concretes my thoughts and frustrations and fucking, kind of deep-rooted anger now. You come from a rough and ready environment and place and part of the country. So really, nothing should make you feel nervous. But yet, fucking fast forward 20 odd years, you're now living in a state of fear. It's disgusting.
Well, like I said to you earlier, there's always been violence, but it'll be fellas fighting fellas. It'll be gangs fighting gangs. That's not really what anyone's worried about anymore. It's horrible people doing horrible things to innocent people. You know, it's like the football hooligans, isn't it? They're fighting each other. Do you know what I mean? Rightly or wrongly, you know, it ain't nice, it ain't good, but they're fighting each other. They're not really hurting anyone else.
They know what they're getting themselves into.
They know what they're getting themselves into, and it's fucking boys are being boys, you know, like, it is what it is. But now people are getting hurt for no reason in the most despicable, disgusting way. To be scared about your children doing things and not letting them do the things you could do because you're worried about something happening to them, I think is a really dangerous place for us to be in, headspace-wise, because you're restricting your children from doing so much because you're so scared of what the world is turning into.
You're a parent with 2 children now in the world that are, well, in their most vulnerable years, finding their feet, and we're having to live in this kind of environment it's very unfair.
But they don't get it either. Not that you want them to get it. You're trying to shield them from it all, but you also need to make them aware that this is the fucking shit that goes down. You can't go out like that because you'll attract the wrong attention. You can't go there. You can't put your videos online. You can't do that. And that's all I feel like I keep doing. No, you're not doing that. You're not doing la, 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 la. Like, I've took my kids off certain social media platforms because they're fucking vile. Well,
it brings me to a question about TikTok, because you're big in that space. TikTok is your thing. I don't know how to operate that, but I know that you're all over it, and a lot of your videos have gone completely viral. But there was a story I heard about a guy that actually topped himself on TikTok.
Shot himself, yeah.
See, this is what, like, the new generation are being exposed to. And you have to see that once or twice before you think, well, that's normal. Some youngster that wants a bit of attention, they think, okay, well, I'll do that. Not realising it's the end of the line when you do that. Did you see the video?
I saw people talking about it, and then I saw the video just before he'd done it. But people had actually seen it live on TikTok, him doing it, and the aftermath.
Yeah, that's outrageous.
And kids would have seen that.
Yeah, what's the restrictions? 13, 14, 15?
Yeah, there's kids on there that are like 8. Do you know what I mean? And they're not necessarily looking for horrible stuff. They're watching other kids play with toys. Do you know what I mean? But it will filter through. And again, that's why I said to you, that's why I feel nervous, because of the way the world is going, and it's very scary. And I would literally like to live in the middle of nowhere, in a forest, live off the land, piss in a river and shit in a bucket. I wouldn't like to shit in a bucket, actually. But an outdoor loo, but where no one can get to me. And I never my husband always used to say I'd live in the middle of nowhere. I'm like, oh no, I couldn't live with no civilization around me. I fucking could now.
Oh, you and me both.
I think we were the last generation that had a half decent childhood, in the sense of we'd go and play, the way we'd use our imagination.
40-40, Kirby, Knockdown Ginger, all the good stuff.
I've got a fucking clue now. They're on their phones. I said to someone the other day, I wish to God I didn't let my kids have phones. I wish to God. And I fucking did. And that's on me.
Because once I have the phone, good luck taking it back.
And that's my fault. It's not their fault. That is my fault as a parent. But we do, do you know, I'll tell you what, we're going to go out for dinner, but here's the iPad, here's the phone. You have a look at that so we can have a nice quiet dinner. Like, yeah, it's not the right thing to do, but so many of us have done it. Do you know what I mean? I am not a cake baking, finger painting mum. I'm not. Sometimes I wish I could be, because, you know, it'd probably be better for my kids. But that's what a lot of us have done with our kids, is giving them that. And that is the worst. That is probably the most dangerous weapon we could have given our kids, I think. I
totally agree. What would your final message to the masses be?
Run.
Get the fuck out of here.
Fucking run. No.
Oh, actually, before I ask you what your final message to the masses would be, as promised to our female audience, surgery. Talk to me about your facelift.
Oh, yeah.
Was it painful, traumatic, exciting?
I had my face off. I've done stuff in the past, cosmetic surgery, so I'm well versed in it. Do you know what I mean? But for some reason, my face was a total different kettle of fish. I shit myself. I nearly pulled out so many times. I was so scared. You can hide the rest of you. You can't hide that. It's what everyone sees. But I'd been thinking about it for years. It's like, I want to get it done. I hate my jowls. I hate this. I hate that. I'm not going to lie. Like, I'm going to probably want something else. I don't think we're ever truly happy. I wish I could be, but we're never truly happy. Already I'm looking at myself thinking, oh, what else can I do?
What, to your face?
Yeah.
Is this like a body dysmorphia thing?
Is it? Maybe, yeah. There's definitely an issue there somewhere because, like, why the fuck? I am so in awe of people that are happy in the skin that they're in and ageing gracefully or disgracefully, whatever. I wish I could be like that. I am so glad I did it, yes. Did I regret it at any point? Yes, for the first 2-3 fucking days I wanted to jump out the hospital window. It was horrific.
Are there any celebrities that you see that have had plastic surgery and you think, you've gone too far? Go on.
Katie Price. But I hate saying it because if she's happy with the way she looks, that's great. It's subjective, innit? I might look at someone and go, oh, you look fucking hideous. But someone else might not. Someone might look at me and think you look fucking hideous. But I just wanted to look like a better version of myself. You know, Katie Price, I always say that I look like the Bride of Wildenstein, but I don't think I do, thankfully. Do you know when it gets bad? I think as you get older, you just keep filling your face and you can't because your face has lost so much elasticity and volume. You've got to stick so much in it and that's when you start distorting your features. So that is when you have to go and get your face cut because that is the only thing that's going to reverse the ageing. The filler won't do it anymore.
And you've done that skinny jab.
I've done the skinny jab.
Did it make you ill?
It made me ill. But that was, 𝐬𝐮𝐬𝐫𝐿 was the worst one. That put me in hospital. The other one that I'm on is 𝐬𝐮𝐬𝐫𝐿. And I don't promote it because I always think people should, if you can do it the natural way, then do it. It's not the answer. But as I said to you before, I'm fucking lazy and I like food. So I did the injection. I'm not going to lie, it's fucking magic. It is... it's fucking unreal. It just fell off me. I don't even know. It's like someone was just taking all the fat off me overnight. It was fucking madness. But it's not for the faint-hearted.
You ain't got a jab for sunburn and hay fever, have you?
Nope, I'm afraid not.
I would have had that today.
If I had it, I'd be a fucking multi-millionaire. I keep sniffing because my nose is really running. So I haven't had a heavy night, by the way. I don't do that anymore. I have got hay fever. Well, we both have. Well, you've got a shiny head and hay fever. I've got a stretched face and hay fever.
I've got a shiny sore head. And last night started to blister, and I'm thinking, fucking hell, I'm in the studio tomorrow with a big red blistering head.
Do you not put Factor on your head?
I got caught short about 30 minutes in the sun.
Because it's been strong, isn't it?
Come out of nowhere, I thought, well, I'll sit here because it's nice. And then it let me know.
Because you obviously catch it. You've got all sun-kissed across here. But your head was like, mate, you needed to protect me and you didn't. You didn't have your heads back yesterday.
No.
And I can't imagine you in a hat. You're a hat guy.
No, I wear a woolly hat in the winter.
Yeah. But like,
baseball cap.
You're not going to do that in the summer, are you? And I can't, Yeah, baseball caps. You're either into hats or you ain't, aren't you really?
This is bald world problems.
Fuck everything else that's going on. You just got to worry about that. Worry about the sun, worry about your head.
I need to start thinking about me first for a change, don't I? Stop worrying about the country, start thinking about my fucking head.
Me first, that's what it should be. Do you know what? If we started like worrying about ourselves first and fixing ourselves, then we wouldn't probably create so much that is wrong in the world.
I do swear by me first. I do swear by, like, I need my cup to be full, and then when it overflows, that's when I'll start quenching your thirst. I can give back when I'm full.
I think everyone has to be me first, and then you go on to help everyone else. If I'm going downhill, then everybody else is going to, aren't they? I couldn't look after my kids when I was depressed.
No, and I think the shortcut to looking after your mind is looking after your body. As soon as I start getting into fitness again, it's like, shit, how did I forget how good it makes me feel?
We're all so concerned with the outside when it's that inside that actually needs to be at the top. Saying the person that's just had a facelift. Don't try this at home. Don't listen to me. I just talk shit.
Well, you have got 10 different personalities.
Exactly. But I know all the right things. I just don't necessarily do them. I know it's important to do here. Do I go to the gym? No, because I'm fucking lazy and I wish I wasn't. I just don't want to be lazy anymore. I just wish I wasn't, but I fucking am. But yeah, inside first, outside second.
And would that be your final message?
That would be my fucking final message, yes. In, not out.
And where can people find you? What platforms are you on and what's your tag?
Well, my pronouns are 𝐸, actually. Someone shouted that to me in Zara in Spain once. Someone that had seen one of my videos and shouted it across Zara in Spain.
Was it a Spaniard that didn't realise how fucking rude that was?
No, it was a girl that lived out in Spain that watched my videos and she said, 𝐸, I thought, fucking someone starting. And she said, no, I've watched your video. I'm on TikTok, 𝐿MT&x. I'm on Instagram, 𝐿MT&x, Facebook. I need to start doing YouTube. I don't really do YouTube anymore because it's so fucking hard because different platforms need different content.
So, what's your favourite one? TikTok?
TikTok was my favourite because that's where it all started for me. But at the minute, I'm all Instagram.
Instagram, innit? And do you think you could ever make a return to acting?
Nope.
Definitely not.
Nope. I cannot. It's all left in other people's hands as to whether you progress. Do you know what I mean? Like you could go in and do an amazing audition, but you've got brown eyes, so you're not getting it because you don't necessarily fit with the other person that they've cast, which is normal stuff. But I cannot handle going into a room with people sitting there watching me and going, "Okay, go," and I go. And it's not enough. And then for someone like me, it's just not a good thing to do.
And what sort of people are in that entertainment industry?
You've got to have lived, I think, in order to be able to act anyway. But there's something really sadistic about being an actor because it's all predominantly no. You're basically paying all this money to go to drama school and learn and everything for someone to say no to you, and that you don't fit. I never got cast for mums because because I don't look like a mum.
How so?
Well, I'm not your stereotypical mum. I don't, you don't look at me and think mum, or they didn't look at me and think mum. You stereotype, you typecast. I was either a prostitute, a fucking drug addict, a murderer, or those are the parts that I'd go up for. But then when they met me, they're like, oh, you're not really that kind of character. You are, but you're not because you're only little and you just, I'm several different people, do you know what I mean? And I'm quite shy. So they're like, oh no, you don't come across as a fucking hard ass. I don't think I can.
You pull the psycho off well.
I did. I don't know if I do anymore.
No, you definitely did.
But I did. But yeah, that's no, I'm not leaving the power in somebody else's hands as to whether, and I was relying on that for validation and happiness. And I fell out of love with it and I was like, bollocks, fuck off. That's it, done. So I did that. So I did the content and I'm just happy doing that, plodding along. It just makes me happy.
And good for you.
Yeah, it's fun. Got me horses, got Captain Chops, got my 𝐼𝐸𝐵𝐿 children, and I might get a donkey and a pig.
I would.
And a pygmy goat. That's what I'm going to do. It's going to be, at home with the bellends. That's what it could be, couldn't it?
Why don't you launch a YouTube channel and get all the family involved, get your big handsome husband in there?
He's camera shy though. Like he won't do it. Like I'll put him on camera and he'll go, what have I done? Like, David, move, breathe. He didn't even do a speech at our wedding. I had to do the speech.
Final thing, tell me why your husband didn't give a speech at your wedding.
He can't talk publicly. He's the funniest fucking fella you'll ever meet. We'll be sitting there and we'll be pissing ourselves. As soon as you put him in front of a group of people or a camera, goes mute. He got up at the wedding, went, I love you, thank you for being my wife, sat down. I went, you're having a fucking laugh, aren't you? I did a whole fucking Oscar speech. I literally, I thank God and everyone, and if it wasn't for meeting him, I probably wouldn't be here. All that kind of shit. I was like, I hope I'm making everyone proud now.
Did you know that he wasn't going to be able to deliver a speech?
No, fucking fuming. I was absolutely fuming. I was like, that was my moment to shine with you saying how amazing I am and everything that I've done for you. Because we're all, I mean, he weren't like the normalest of people when I met him either. Do you know what I mean? So, but he made everything so much more normal. He is my best mate. He really, really is. And I feel when I always want to be around him because he just makes me feel safe.
That's lovely.
Not because he'd protect me like physically. Yeah, he would. Of course he would. But he is my safe space. He's
your permanent security blanket.
Yeah, like he is everything. Absolutely everything. And
you know what? Not enough people out there build their partners up like that. So when you hear how someone speaks about their partner when they're not in the room, that'll give you a good idea who that person is.
Yeah, and like, don't fucking be there. Like he wasn't necessarily even my type when I met him. But
Get out of it. He's my type.
Yeah, he's everyone's type.
He's everyone's type.
No, because he was nice. I used to go out of arseholes.
Yeah.
He was nice. So I was like, oh God, I don't know if I can. But anyway, I didn't we fell madly in love. But he's the reason probably I've got on the journey that I have into trying to fix myself, because he's so fucking normal and he's so nice and he's so respectful, and he is the most hard-working man that you'll ever meet. And he's the tightest, most generous man I've ever met. Like, sensible tight, whereas I'm fucking get that. And I'm like, he's like, you haven't got any fucking money. I'm like, yeah, it don't matter, just get it. And he's like, oh, fuck. So if it wasn't for him, I'd probably live in a tent. Do you know what I mean? And my kids would be eating beans out of a can. He's my sensible side. But he really is one of the most, he gets on my fucking nerves, and I get on his nerves a lot. I know I'm really hard work. So hats off to him.
Big shout out to Dave. And what does the future hold for you and Dave?
Well, just taking over the world and shit.
I should have known when you mentioned the donkeys and the pigs.
Exactly. Do you know what? I just want to have a little farm with animals and horses, my husband, my kids, and that's me. I know it sounds so pathetic, but I think where everybody wants to be someone and go out there and set the world on fire, we all do. And we all want to make things change. We want the world to change. We want to leave our mark on the world. But I think it's very overrated, and I think we're forgetting where that true happiness and sense of achievement comes from, and it's family.
The simple stuff. Well, for me, I wish you and Dave and the family the best of luck, and the donkeys and the pigs and whatever other farmyard animals you decide to get. And thank you for coming on.
Thank you so much.
Much appreciated.